Hi guys, this is Mia. I hope the sound is okay. I actually don't know. This is a check-in video, so I can have a video at least every 3 months. But I thought I had one for May or June that I put on timed. Um, I don't like making videos. I used to like making videos multiple times a day, as you know, and I don't have space on this device for that anyways, and I don't know how to move them off like I did with the old computer. I could just move them onto an external hard drive. There's a lot that I don't know what to do right now. So that's my morning tea. The past two times that I had tea, I forget the first brand name. Something organic. I don't remember. The second one was the one that I have been getting, which was what is a silver bag? Um, Frontier. I think it was the organic Frontier. I think I got it off Amazon or I got it through iHerb. I think I got it through iHerb. So both of them. I'm sorry, I don't know the other brand. It was the first time I got. I don't know if it was. Wasn't there one called Star or something? It comes in a kind of vacuum sealed looking clear container with the sticker. I'll have to get back to you. I contacted them because it tasted really strongly like chemicals. And I was wondering what's going on because I needed to get the tea, and I didn't read the comments or the reviews. That one was from Amazon, and there was a lot about the stems. But when I read the reviews after I tried it, it was most of the people were giving it to their horses. So I was like, is this even for human consumption? Like, like the majority, I've never seen so many, unless somebody bought what is it when you get the bots to make comments on your. Oh, okay. So I want to make this quick so I don't use all the memory because I won't be able to use my device. Um, I did have a trip for family, and I'm supposed to have another trip that we're potentially going to cancel. It's not too far. There's no flights. Should be flights. There should be flights. But I think this place is no airplane, or it's probably a small airplane or airport. So when I stated in February that I had to, if I even stated, change my clinic for the state that had pretty much 100% of the patients, maybe 99% of the patients, I have a collaboration agreement, and I have probably not said much about it, if at all. They didn't give me a grace period. This can end if your provider doesn't renew their license, if they pass away, if they move out of state, and just cancel if they get sick and aren't able to practice. And my colleague got a 10-day grace period, because shut charts down, fax out, refer people to another provider while you look for one provider, get the paperwork in order, close out any pending lab results that you need to call your patient and check in. They said it's pretty much Monday morning. Sunday I stopped, but Monday they told me nothing. So I didn't do any billing for 2.5 months, for more, at least that. And then all the billing I did got rejected by the AI, and you don't get a notification that it's rejected. So basically, I guess you're supposed to log in several times a day after you submit these claims. I've never had this happen before, so I had to blame myself for not keeping track. I was expecting the checks to come in after I unpaused my clinic, and I had a dental surgery, emergency tooth removal, in January, and I had over $1,000 for my care credit card, and I had paid a couple bucks cash at one place, and there was a $200 minimum for the 6 months financing. I paid literally like $6, and it brought it to like $196. So I didn't get 6 months financing. I had that. What is it, like 39% interest? And I thought I could give myself 6 months to pay down a couple $100, but that started the interest stacking up. And then I went to my old dentist. I tried to find a different dentist who could do a diagnosis and a treat the problem within the same week. I spent 5 weeks. That's a long time in Portland, and for Christmas, and I tried the whole time to find a dentist, and they all canceled me, and I had no money. And my care credit card used to be $300 max, but they upped it to like $1,000 or so. Anyways, I ended up going to my old dentist. They said there's a huge crack all the way up, and then they referred me to one place. They called one place or something, and they didn't have any openings. I don't know. They said you need to get it fixed right away. So let's say I was in that dentist at 10 a.m. one day, and the next day I had emergency surgery. I had to arrive at like 8 a.m. I was having to pay for that, and I called to say they wanted me to have an implant, but I had to pay for the what's the antibiotics? What's the other thing? Or the spacer thing? The bone. I called a couple times and asked them what is the average price for the bone graft or whatever, and nobody would tell me whether it was hundreds, whether it was thousands, whether it was tens of thousands. And they said we can't tell you that information. You come in and get the procedure done. Rip this tooth out of my head while I was wide awake screaming. And I could feel they kept poking me and they kept poking me to see if the anesthesia was working, and it wasn't. And so it took a long time of me crying because I could feel them poking around and digging around in my teeth. Sharp pain. And people will say, you could feel pressure or tugging or pulling. No, I feel it all. My body, I don't know what it is about me, or the fact that my relatives have red hair, or the fact that I'm doing this special diet and taking these certain herbs. They cause my body to be not normal. The fact that I'm in recovery, my pain threshold was low, my drug tolerance for my body, when I'm talking legal, prescribed, administered by healthcare professionals, is a high tolerance. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. These are the times you want to be normal, because people will not give you the lidocaine and you will be screaming. These people gave me the lidocaine, but I've been to my first breast biopsy at OHSU in Portland, Oregon, at the main hospital with this doctor still works there. It was an Asian woman and a resident, and the resident was doing everything, and she said there's no way you could feel it because we numbed you. And I was screaming. It hurt so bad. I've had 2 natural childbirth. One was OP, sunny side up, and that back labor, that was some serious pain. That having somebody cutting you open and piercing and poking and prodding, that is, to me, is torture. This is not the medieval days. I mean, good God, thank God I'm not back there, because I wouldn't want someone shoving alcohol down my throat and putting a piece of leather on my teeth so I could be like, endure this pain. But anyway, jump ahead. I scheduled a bunch of patients when I got back. I had been told I had a really bad infection, and I wanted to get those credit cards paid off. I told you guys I have this funding. I'm not making any money. I couldn't get any jobs. My GoFundMes, I've had at least 3. I've received 0. I've got nothing from Cash App, Venmo, Buy Me a Coffee, anything, Patreon, PayPal, not even any donations qualified for scholarships or certain places for my kids. No one would give me, even if they give me $10 for my kid, that's $10 more that we don't have to borrow or put on a 40% credit card like I did. I had a gyne exam in the fall, and this person, they gave me the runaround for months, and weeks. I think, I don't know if it was months. They gave me the runaround for weeks, and they refused. They kept canceling my appointment, saying this provider doesn't work there anymore, and it's the same clinic. And so they sent me out of town to the hood, and to a different town. I'm at, like, way over in a different county, and so I went, and they refused to do certain STD screening, and they refused to do a pap smear. And I got up. They said I would draw my blood for the other stuff, and I asked for hormones because I had low progesterone. They could say, oh, everybody has that at your age. They did LH and FSH. I don't even know if they did estrogen. The thing is, I did ZRT saliva sample, and I had the low estrogen, normal testosterone, normal ETU. I don't know if I think I only got ETU. I didn't pay for the breakdown, and that my progesterone was definitely low. So I was using plant-based supplements, and I hadn't been able to afford to get retested. So I simply asked, because it's like vitamin D. You want to know, or low iron. You want to know if what you're doing is working, if it needs to be shifted, or like some things. Some people go way high. They're taking too much vitamin D, too much iron, and you don't want to cause toxicity, selenium, all these different things that we could supplement. So I got up from the table, and there looked like a brush, like a actual oh yeah, they didn't do a pat. It looked like a pat brush, the one with the like fingerlings, not the paddle one. And it was all orange and bloody and goopy looking, and this was all under a blue, what do we used to call those, pads? Oh, not the Chuck's pad, like the blue, what are those waterproof pads? I forget what they call them. And I was laying down, and I asked him, I begged him to do a bimanual exam, which no one does anymore, for my ovaries. I'm like, this is how I was trained in medical school. I was thorough. We were trained to be very thorough. No, not wasting people's time and energy and money, but it's like, this is screening. People refuse. The whole other thing with Planned Parenthood, that's why I had to go somewhere else, and then they refused the labs and imaging results, and it is. To make a long story short, I was like, did that come out of my body? I should have asked. I looked down on it, and on my throat, if you saw what this looked like, I'm like, did they stick something in my body and have all this, didn't they do, maybe they did a chlamydia and gonorrhea screen, because I usually do that with the urine. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did do that with the urine. They refused it. I said I have a history of abnormal cells. I have a history of, did I have a history of high risk and elite procedure, all this stuff, precancer, CIN3, and I hadn't had a screening. And she said the guidelines, people like me don't get screened at this rate. And it had been 3 years, at least 3 years. And I thought, this was CNN, I thought, oh my God, I wasn't aware that I'm thinking, as a physician and a doctor and a OB midwife, natural midwife, I wasn't aware that the guidelines had changed again. They've changed since I've been to med school, or while I was in med school. And I was like thinking, oh, I'm stupid. So I came right home and looked, and the guidelines hadn't changed. She got it mixed up. And refused the STD and the PAP. And so in January, I already had a physical exam, and I had to request, I said, and that physician, not midwife, not nurse, that DO said, oh yeah, you're due for that. So I had to come back, because I didn't want to see a male, and I had to come back. This is also out of town. So there's a clinic right down the street, but they always say I can't come to that. And I think it's because I'm Medicaid, to be honest. They're saving those spots for other people. They want me to go far away or to the hood. In the hood, I was parking. They didn't have any parking. They had parking for employees, and I was driving around trying to find a parking spot. I could have parked at the street. Or there was like a church parking lot that said, there's a church and another business. It said, such and such. You know how it says, like, customers of this facility only, and you're like, oh my god, there's like signs everywhere, like, I can't park there. So I had to go in and double check and wait in line for like 40 minutes, and there was like no one else. There was like one person already at the window, but I still had to wait forever. That was the first time. And then I went to the November, December, January, I went to the other appointment, and I got my annual exam, and I was told it wasn't an annual. Months later, anyway, that's another story. Let's just say I'm getting a runaround. So I finally got a pap there, and this lady I didn't like. They're like, oh, she's so nice. Like, I don't like any of these people. And the doctor's saying that, like, well, you think it's nice if you're that person's patient? I mean, they're acting stupid. These people act, anyways. Not acting. Like, let me always confirm that they're not acting. Some people are. Some people try to act like I'm completely ignorant, and they will make stuff up just to get me to leave so they can get on with their day, so they can get home, pick their babies up from daycare, and go to their beach vacation. I know how it is to this. I was a student on different teams of different variations of education. That's not the title. It's not their educational title or their degree or their certification. It's the human being behind all that stuff. So basically they had, like, oh, I need to have such and such come in the room while you have your pap. So now it's like February or March. I don't even know. And this person, none of these people, I think the one person actually did wash their hands, but she had their MA or whoever come in with fake fingernails. It was an African American young woman. I think she had fake hair, fake nails. She never washed her hands. They didn't even have any hand sanitizer, which I'd rather someone wash their hands. Some people do both. I hate alcohol-based hand sanitizer. It makes my skin literally bleed and my nails completely split on this part, the fleshy part of my nail. It is a nightmare. I carry it. But yeah, I'm an advocate for washing my hands or using a different type of sterilizing, or antiseptic cleansing wipe if I'm remote for my clinic, because I could be remote. But I'll do both because I'll have to come through doors to get back to where. Anyway, I'm not doing any sensitive exams either. And the paper, I think it's when the table paper wasn't far enough down. It wasn't even covering the end. So they want me to put my butt down there while they mess with my privates. And I never see these people or smell them cleaning anything. I used to go in. Somebody used to, that was during COVID, used to come in and everything's still wet. The table, the chair, still wet with a cleanser. I'm like, make sure you wear clothes that won't get messed up, or you're not concerned if you get messed up or happens to accidentally have some kind of bleach on it or something. But anyways, I got in trouble in my med school. We had a guide table, and I wiped it down and was waiting for it to dry. Then I went ahead and put the table paper on there, and it was the actual dean of the school. She had multiple degrees, or the dean of my actual naturopathic program, and she threw my paper away and yelled at me. So you didn't wait long enough. This cabbie wipe, you had to wait 3 minutes or something for it to dry before you put the paper back on. So it's like, oh, I let it dry. The thing is, she didn't see when I put the paper, or when I wiped it down. She came in afterwards and yelled at me. So I don't know what was up with that. You know how I'll be looking around. People could sneak up on me, but it was like little, almost like the little shower stall size at the gym. Like it was like little cubbies with enough room for a dining table and a little table and a walkway with the little curtains. that go between, because it's sensitive. This is a training area of our school. And she didn't see me when I first pulled the cabbie wipe out and wiped it down. And did I have a timer? No. So she could have been right. The thing is, what she saw was the table was a little wet still. So I didn't, whether it was 3 minutes or 2.5, if it's 3 to 4 minutes, or whether it was the thing is, if the directions say let it dry, that's one thing. If it says wait 3 minutes or whatever the time was at the time, that's a whole nother thing. Because the thing is, I could have been wrong since I don't have a timer, but I knew the rules. It wasn't like I didn't know the rules. It's not like, you guys know I like to read containers, like, and directions and follow directions. And when I'm in school, I want to learn it right. I want to learn it right the first time. I don't want to have to backpedal on anything. I'm a human. I have erasers on my pencils still. In fact, I bought some pens that have erasers on them too for my calendar for work, for my other job. So this is getting to be long. Anyways, to make a long story short, it was abnormal. This is the first time in over 20 years, or about 20 years, since like 2016, that I've had abnormal PAP. I had changed my diet, I had exercised, I had gone to yoga, I had done whatever with my meetings. I had some downtime when my kids were little. We tried to go camping, go to a hotel at the beach once a year. Very stressful still. Very, very stressful. But I wasn't expecting that. And so from not getting the PAP in November and telling them that I am high risk and that I need to be checked regularly, I had gone 10 years without being checked. And I tried, my PCP wouldn't talk about. She should have sent me to Gyne. But whatever. Hindsight 2020, guys. Hindsight 2020. If someone refused to, like, if I don't have the office space to do a sensitive exam, or if I can't get appropriate guide, or however you call it, what is the witness person called? I can't think of the word. Then I will have to refer out. I will have to refer out. I have the equipment to do everything I need to do, except the labs aren't sending me the lab materials and the preservatives and all the paddles and all that stuff. I should have brought some of that. I wonder, those ones probably expired too. I had all that stuff. Medicaid, Oregon denied my in-network because they said I didn't have a setup for Gyne, which I did. I had everything. I had a triangle for your butt, because I had the portable massage table, so I had a triangle wedge with the thick plastic that can be sanitized, and I was gonna put the table paper and everything else under it too. I had all the lab stuff in the drawer, in the top drawer, and the gloves and the hand sanitizer, and they lied and said I didn't have any of that. I didn't have a table with stirrups, but I had the wedge, and I had all that stuff because that's what I was trained to do as a naturopathic physician. I had the paddles and the brushes and the specimen containers and the requisition forms to the lab. I had all that stuff right in the top drawer. I had gowns. I had everything, but I didn't have a Gyne table. But I was used to doing house calls for OB, and we had even Gyne. We had to do PAPs and different things with the bed, and we didn't do maybe we did. We didn't necessarily do like nurses do with the bedpan upside down to prop their butt up. But I think it's the word archaic to have your feet up and in stirrups, and it's uncomfortable and it's vulnerable. And I had the head lamp because I didn't have the other lamp, which I hate. You ever hate going to a gyne appointment and they're touching all of your parts with their hands and they're going through all the drawers looking for stuff because they didn't have it set out and they never took the gloves off, and then they touch your body again and they're touching the light and doing all this with the buttons, and like, can you just have an assistant do that? That's gross. I never ever saw them wipe down every drawer you're flipping through. I remember this guy who did the surgery for the LEEP. He kept going through the speculums, the stainless steel ones, and he kept scratching stuff off. Residue from someone else's body. He did that through at least 3. He goes, oh, these are still dirty. Or, like, maybe they... I don't even... Our school, we had an enzyme wash that we had to soak stuff in after we scrubbed it in the sink. We didn't have those in the autoclave. We had our surgery equipment in the autoclave. This is okay. 21 hours later, Mia's still talking. Needless to say, I scheduled colposcopy for I don't know when. Maybe the time passed. They canceled my appointment. I gotta wait till August. And that's for the abnormal pap. And I had been to doctors and PAs recently about one clinic I went to at least 3 times for blood in the stool, and it's getting really bad. So I finally went in Thursday. They had tried to get me to go to Delaware. It's a place I wanted to go to. I think it's like 40 minutes away, or I don't remember. But we ended up having to go like an hour and a half away, or hour and 40 minutes away. So we were literally like 15 minutes from the beach, from the Atlantic Ocean. Like, that's how far. So I got some labs. They never gave me the results. I got an order for CE and an order for, CT. I got an order for stool test. Oh, shoot. I gotta do that stool test. And I got an order for, a stool test, and I got an order for, oh my God, I can't think. For, CT. What am I missing? Oh, for the, dreaded colonoscopy. I don't want to go. I don't even care anymore. But these people didn't ask, like, they asked the pain that I had now, and it was like a 2 because I was just sitting there. But it can be, like, right now it's like a 7. It's like a 6 pain, 7. There's in different areas of my abdomen. It's pretty bad. And every time they left the room, I told my partner, when do I get a chance to tell them I feel like I'm dying? Like, so what if I go in for colonoscopy and they don't just remove polyps? What if they remove half of my colon? I won't get that back. I'm like scared. I'm really scared. I don't want to go, but I rather, I don't know why the guy was talking about endoscopy, endoscopy, like, so he was suggesting something less invasive than a colonoscopy. I did get referred once about 3-4 years ago. I don't even think that place, that's in town, gastroenterologist. So yeah, I talked to a PA. It was not good with the, somebody introduced himself as a nurse, but they were, LPN, licensed practical nurse. Can you call yourself a nurse as an LPN? Oh shoot, I'm stuck. Anyway, she said, what's up with, are your parents living? I'm like, I don't know. I don't talk to my dad. It's like, my mom passed away. She's like, what's wrong with your mom or something? What's wrong with your mom? I was just like, like, what part of your life do you want to know? But it's like, my partner was like, how rude. Like, what if your mom was killed in a violent accident or something, and just be so rude? Like, most people I know my age, moms are still alive. People 20 years older than me, I know a lot of them, their mom's still alive. Not so much their dads. But if she wanted to know family medical history, She should have asked Philly Medical History, but that should have all been in a computer because they were using Epic, my chart, Epic. So why were they asking me stupid questions that I've had in the chart since 2004 when I first went to OHSU? It's even my medical school used Epic. All that stuff is like, I don't know if it's universal, but it's at least in the U.S. Every clinic has access to all this stuff. And it's very not up to date, which is interesting too, because it's a whole nother story. I kind of want my lab results. They're going to do a celiac panel. I did remember that I had highly suspect for celiac disease for my heritage. They held my sample and they said, if you want us to hold your sample for another such and such amount of years, you got to pay like $100 or something. And they said, if you want the genetic test health screening, you pay, was it $49? I told this to one of my groups, my Al-Anon group, and I always feel like every time I talk about money, I say I don't have money, but I said I had to do this because no doctor would. And I just realized that I did have, the only susceptibility was celiac disease. Like, oh, I know when I eat gluten, I get so sick. So I don't know if there's a lot of cross-contaminations. Like, oh, you don't take gluten. Like, there's a lot of cross-contamination. I don't go shopping for things that say gluten-free on them because I typically see that in processed foods. But the nuts and the seeds and the beans I eat, none of it says gluten-free. Even the shampoo or the conditioner I found is like got rice and gluten. I stopped using a lot of shampoos and stuff in the past because I didn't want the gluten in it, or the wheat gluten. I didn't want to be exposed because I was breaking out and getting bad acne and hives and sores and all. It's like using bad toilet paper. I used bad toilet paper like once or twice last week, the kind that's not my brand, and I had a eczema, like a painful like I'm checking not 1 or 2 days, once or twice. It is barely touching my skin, and that's why I eat and do the things I do. That's really sad because it becomes expensive out of necessity. Or I went to the store on the way to work yesterday out of town, and I had a coupon. I was hoping it was still good, but it expired 2 days prior, and they don't care to give you any kind of grace period for the coupons. This person was so rude. I swear, this same cashier all the time, they're looking at me, and I put my bag up on the counter, and they don't like grab the bag and put the food in there. So, and I couldn't find my card, and I was like freaking out because there was like an empty spot in my wallet, and I was like, oh no. I only looked up one card, and I just went through it like 2 times, and the person's like, and normally they would usually ask you when you get there, oh, they used to have all their bags stacked up, and they'd undo or get their bags ready, their paper bags. But every time I bring my own bag, and I just put it on the counter with the groceries. I just got some raw crackers and some blueberries. I wonder what brand those were. Anyways, I know I'm going on different tangents, but I want to try to get all this in for the update. But I never had someone just stare at me like, and then wait for me to pay so they could walk away and I could bag my own groceries. And I'm not opposed to bagging my own groceries because I like to have the heavy stuff on the bottom and do it that way. But I thought that was really weird that they are not even, I don't know. That was just weird. It was really weird. But I felt like this is a white woman. I felt like they were upset that I was getting this vegan, what's it called? I don't even like, not hummus. What's the other one? With the basil and the pine nuts. I don't actually even know if that has the pine nuts and the olive oil. Pesto. I don't even like pesto, but it's like, it was a special occasion yesterday, and I am trying to celebrate life to the fullest, and I ended up splurging while working, and I was going to do extra shift to try to cover expenses, and I actually had to rearrange my non-extra shift till tomorrow, which sucked. I got 2 other extra shifts tomorrow. The only unfortunate thing about that is more driving, more gas, more snacks I took on the road. Let's talk about the health food store. I don't like this store that much. I usually have people giving me dirty looks or getting fussy with me, and I'm typically the only black person I see in that store. And the people that shop there are typically women, and they have a similar look, and they don't look like me. But I grew up, or I didn't grow up in the 20s. I was doing well. My mom did go to some of these co-ops, but they were only like pop-up co-ops. I don't know what's up with that. There's once a month there would be this co-op in town at church or something, and they'd have the banana chips and all this bulk items and different things that we couldn't get at the commissary or the IGA or the A&P or Bissonnette Country Garden and those stores, the typical stores. But my friend Heidi, who was my neighbor before we left my ex-husband, she took me to People's Co-op in Portland, Oregon. I should have gone when I was there. Sorry, guys. And then, what was the other one called? There's another co-op. When I lost my job at NCNM, I had to reclaim my money from this co-op. So you're a member and you're supposed to get dividends. But the person who told me about that, she was getting a lot of dividends. I didn't get a penny of dividends. I got dividends from People's, but it was like a coupon. During COVID, it came in the mail or something. I never took it in. I think it expired. I'm pretty sure. I haven't actually seen that coupon. It was like $20 or something. Anyways, let's talk. This my experience. Getting the runaround, getting appointments canceled. I had people call me from Delaware saying your doctor's office said to come out here, but we don't take your insurance all the way over here. So this causes stress. I started seeing patients. I haven't gotten paid in about 1, potentially 2 years from insurance, and I'm in network. I haven't got paid. I sent the bills in. I haven't got paid, and I did get paid 1 or 2 times, and the insurance demanded their money back. I'm an in-network provider. I try to do a prior authorization before the patients, and I don't have a fee schedule. So I do some of the websites that I use to verify insurance do have a fee schedule. Very few of them, like I think there's one that shows it. It's very pennies on the dollar for me as a naturopathic physician / doctor, Maryland physician. Everywhere else I'm licensed: DC, Oregon, Washington State, and Vermont. So that's 5 places. I'm only naturopathic doctor in Maryland, and everyone else I'm a physician. 2 of those places I'm a naturopathic physician midwife, which is not the term. It's a natural childbirth person, which I actually need to work. I got to work on some requirements for that coming up here in the next couple of months. That's a whole nother danger zone. But I want to tell you something. I hate it. From both being a patient and being a provider, I just don't like it. And then being a black, single, divorced, fat, older woman, middle-aged woman, it makes it even worse. I'm going to check in on all the things I talked about, even though everything doesn't get listed online. We're going to do the hair, what was it, the hair growth challenge. I'm not using those products that I got from, was it Marcour or something like that, a local group. I still have the hair growth oil and I was going to rebuy the little container. I had a little one for travel of both. I had a roll-on for the hair oil. I was only like kind of rolling it on here because it was a hassle. I just wanted to bring it with me on trips a couple of years ago. And I had the little travel container. What is it? 2 ounce or 1 ounce, whatever, plastic with the screw top. I had that in Portland, and I looked one last summer, and it was all covered with dots. Now, it didn't necessarily look like mold, but it looked like, I don't know. I wanted to think that the oil was separating and it just floated to the top, but I threw that out. And actually, I still need to get my container still sitting there, so I left it. So, this is the braids, and this hair is not locking, but I'm rebraiding it, and I've been pretty stressed and pretty sickly from the bleeding of the bowels. So what's interesting is the back, the part that I think is the most nappy, is doing its own thing. It's doing it. It's not. My hair's never been long. I had a little bit kind of long with locks. People say people with locks have long hair because they don't mess with it. The thing is, you're also shedding your hair, and when you wash it, it goes down. It extends, you know. This part is still wispy, whatever's going on up here. I still got frozen shoulder, by the way. You see? But it's improved since I came back this time around. Each time I go to Portland and cook and clean it, I don't get any of my work done hardly. So that's pretty short. And then this part is still, this was my main concern, is these, look how gray my hair is. These hairs, guys, if they're braided, they grow, but I never had a haircut. I've had my hair trimmed in the 80s and 90s at junior high. I don't even know if I had it trimmed, let alone cut. I had it cut when I was in like 5th or 6th grade. This hair is still very short. I feel like I'm not close enough for you to see. It's just breaking off. It's like breaking off in my hand. You could hear it sounds like crackling old leaves and brush. So, this part is, I don't know what's going on there. Because I guess some of it is in the ponytail holder right now, but usually this part looks like somebody took a razor and just went over it and made it short but not bald. That's what's usually going on here. The shape of a headband. This is super gray. Obviously, I don't look in the mirror. In our mirrors we can't see your face in any of them. So I am really scared. Like, I'm gonna have to put a hat on because I'm not used to looking at myself. I had a last hurrah. I started working a different job, shut down the clinic. I had one patient in Maryland or in DC. I saw it like 4 times. I've received 0 from insurance. And they expired. They probably 100% of them expired. So that was an idiotic thing to do. So my last hurrah, I had to order my meds, which I didn't want to go off since I use natural products for psych meds. The first one is prescribed. The second one we used to prescribe all the time. It's a kind of a basic med. The first one was prescribed by a Chinese medicine provider in probably 2004. So I was able to get, with this from the same company, this hair pomade. I said, this is my last. I'm turning 50. Other people do beauty. Other people do go to the gym. My friends talk about not having money, and then they go to the gym and they ask for money from everybody, and they get tats, and they get their hair and nails done, and they get their hair bleached, and they get weaves, and they ask everyone for money and jobs, and they lose jobs, and then you see them on vacation all over the world with their kids, and you're like, how are you able to afford that? Oh, probably because people are giving you money. But so I did my last hurrah on the credit card, and I got my meds, and I got this, and I love the smell. It is very greasy. So I've been using this because even though it's so greasy, it doesn't have that. And I shouldn't be like licking my fingers when I eat, or you eat something, you're like, ooh, why does it taste like my hair product? Like, I don't, like this stuff, it could taste like this, and I'm not gonna do that. It's gonna be more neutral, not tasting like a artificial flavor or Like, even like if something was way what's the word, um, essential oils or something, I could be like, I think I could tolerate it, but that other stuff I couldn't. So basically, you put the hair stuff on, and I do my hair. Woo! I just lost it in my skirt. I hope I didn't. I made a grease spot on my skirt. Oops. So you want to rebraid the hair, unbraid the hair, rebraid the hair. Sometimes leave this out and let it. Since it's not going to soak it up, it's oil, not anything water-based. If I unbraid this braid right now, you can't hardly see, it's so small. I'm going to go and make sure the oil's on the end. If I already put oil on it, it's on my hands. It's going to stay on my hands. Let it say it tomorrow morning. And I'm not very consistent. This part, I'm afraid my hair is short because I was sleeping and not wearing my bonnet. So I'm trying to wear a bonnet or a do-rag, even though I'm not trying to do a do. So if you go back to my old hair growth video, this is just one braid. This is, to most people, short hair. This is one braid. All of my hair, this is one braid. I'm pretty sure that it's going to be probably 2 or 3 inches longer than when I first started taking the pictures. And I thought the saleswoman was she said she was gonna check in on me, so I was taking a lot of pictures and making videos for you guys, but she hadn't checked in on me once, and I thought that was part of the purchase, because she said that she checks in and gets pictures and accounts. So I kind of felt abandoned. So I wanted to order it again, but I was like, I don't have money, and I still had the oil, and I thought I could massage my scalp with the oil. They say every 2 nights, or I say night, every 2 days. I haven't massaged my scalp since, was it last year or the year before? Since I was using the oil. I was using it religiously. I was using the greasy stuff every day or night, and then the other one every other night for the most part. So I have some other oils, but I think they're rancid. Oh, I was going to show you the inside. So if I were to braid that braid, and it were to be, let's just say this, it's easier to see, it would be this long. And if I braid all the ones around it, I might have some hair sticking out from this big bush of hair here. Okay? Now, when I start moving around, doing stuff, going outside, putting hair ties in, whatever, my hair, take a shower, sweaty, my hair just shrinks back up. So I don't know what's going on. Besides, I need to look in a mirror and see if this is all black. This hair is a certain texture. Like I said, the nappier one. This is the straight, finer hair. And this one is just whatever. I don't know. It just feels like completely damaged all the way to the core. Like all the way to the root, or what's it called, the little follicle area, whatever. People end up having complete damage. And then all this gray. I'm so stressed out all the time. I have so much gray. But I'll be 50 in a couple months, and I am excited and grateful. But I have like a list from having this tooth removed too. But yeah, they said there was a big infection. I had told dentists, like 3 or 4 or 5 dentists, 3 or 4 locations. One location had 2 different dentists. I told them it's killing me. It's a 10 out of 10 pain. I absolutely can't eat on this side. And they said there's nothing wrong. There's no tears. There's no cavities. No chipped tooth. And the last time I told someone, I was like, oh, I might have a chipped tooth. They tried to say, oh, it's going to be like $600 or $800 for that repair if needed, or else we're going to put a cavity in. That was supposed to be like, say, January 15th or something. But I end up having the other surgery, we'll say around the 5th or something, in a different state where my insurance wouldn't pay. I called my insurance, said it was an emergency. They said, sorry, you're out of state. We won't pay for anything. And I said, that's interesting, because even sometimes I see surrounding states and close cities where there's in-network providers out of state. They're like, oh, that's only good for Virginia. I'm like, you know what? You just told me that the insurance will never be able to be used out of state. So you're contradicting yourself. Whether you're going to pay for this. So I should have contact two people. I think they both said no. But your insurance fine print, it just says if it's an emergency. So if I were to go to the hospital having a heart attack, it's like, oh, sorry, your Medicaid only works in this state. You better fly back first, unless you're looking to get a big bill and you're going to have to pay in advance, and you're not going to have any, like, what's it called, payment plan, where you pay $50 a month for the next 300 months. Like, no, they want their money. Everyone wants their money. Dental emergencies, I looked all this up. Dental emergencies require you to go into a hospital if there's like bleeding or life-threatening situation, or someone on site can help deal with that. But you're going to go and get any kind of tooth repair, emergency tooth repair, you're going to go to a specialist at an out-of-hospital clinic. And so there wasn't really choices to go into a hospital to have a dental team do something, even though my son did have a dental surgery and teeth removed inside of a hospital, which I thought, that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother, anyways. Let's see, what else I have to catch up on? I want to grow my own food. Let's talk about that. I'm going to stop the video because I don't think anyone's listening. I'll see if I can get a pearl of information for you all. This health food store, so circling back to that, this health food store had the Taylor Farms salad, or the what's it called, Earthbound, or whatever that Earth Farms, or whatever that is associated with Taylor Farms. That is Taylor Farms in the organic form. I got a BJ salad that was supposed to be used by July 6th. That's still in there. I took a bunch out and ate some. I soaked it. I washed it. It was called herb salad. There was, I don't know what was in it, but there wasn't any iceberg lettuce on the label. And I don't even know if it tells you exactly what's in it, because it's like, could have this, could have that. I had washed some and ate it. I may or may not have been fine, I don't know, with some noodles. And then I came back. When I ate that while I was at work, so I just opened it. It's in the back of the fridge. It fell in the back, fell down the shelf into the back somehow, and it was like not moldy or anything. So I ate it, and every bite had this thick, fibrous. It was green, but it felt like I was chewing on, like, I don't know what, like tree limbs. Like, it was just so fibrous, and I tried to let it go and just chew on it, but I kept having to spit it into a napkin. I was like, I cannot, like, either so it's too wilted, too slimy, too contaminated, or I don't think I've ever had that happen. I've found pine needles and leaves and weird stuff in my salad before, but this time it was like every single bite had that in it, and I put some in the salad, like you shake it thing, and I put some vinegar and some sea salt, or no, I put like sea kelp, because the iodine, like, I'm gonna kill any bug, and that's still in the fridge. So I'm in doubt. I'm scared, and I got another one from the free place here. It might be from the Amish market. I heard some places were taking the Taylor's farm, and they were tearing it open and putting it in their own store bags, like say a grocery market store bag, and they were saying it was freshly sliced by them, or chopped. But I see Dollar General has them. 2 different stores have Taylor Farms lettuce kits, all kinds of lettuce. They pedaled back and said it was a false positive. So that someone's like, people are asking, I just did one test. I keep seeing people saying it was 1,000 people, 11,000 people sick. So I'm gonna look it up. Let somebody else take the heat on, instead of just coming out of my mouth, and this is not necessarily going to be reputable. So there's eggs recall, some kind of coffee, some kind of pouches, organic. I don't know what those pouches are. I heard there was a recall somewhere from Fred Meyer and Winco. I can't keep up now. There's a lot of influencers on here. I accidentally clicked, speaking of influencers. Let's see if there's anything in the headlines. So this goes back to where we were years ago with this. I guess this will be the pearl and I'll end it. Where we were decades ago, or 15 years ago, or however long ago, or preparedness minded people. And I used to like watching that dude with the dogs camp, but I can't watch him because he was saying that racism was made up and all this other political stuff that I thought. It's one thing for people to have their political views or their personal opinions, but to call people that disagree ignorant and that we're lying and stuff, if someone wants to give him benefit of the doubt, but that person doesn't give the rest of us benefit of the doubt and calls us names, that's what's sad. Because you're like, oh, I like your content. We all have some kind of differences. I would support your channel. You're basically calling me and people that don't think exactly like you. Just not good. Especially people calling people liars and saying people make stuff up. And this person was dark, but they weren't African American in America either. And they said there's no such thing. Oh, I have a successful life. And like, people also think he's handsome, and he's tall, and he's skinny, and he's really wealthy. Like, riddle me that, Batman. Like, that's gonna take you. You're in a society where you grew up with classism, so you were upper class, or middle class, I should say. There. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. That was camping. I think camping prepared us minded. People were doing the salads during COVID. What is it? The hydroponic, or weren't they hydroponic? The kitchen salads you plug in and they get the lights and everything. I wouldn't mind getting a new one of those for a steep discount. But I think I'm gonna go right after this, use the restroom, wash this off my hands, and grab some seeds if I can find some baby spinach or baby salad, and I'm gonna go grab one of these just flower pots. I don't even care. I'm just gonna plant them in there. Some of the stuff you need to nick the seed or put in the freezer. I'm just gonna stick them in there and stick them in the. Actually, I'll probably use a flower pot that's already in there because I don't want to contaminate anything. All the lights are in there. There's tomatoes. I gotta pollinate the tomatoes. I bought one tomato yesterday. They probably overcharged me. What was it, $4 a pound for a conventional tomato? $4.50 for the organic per pound, and $4.70 per pound for the heirloom. I almost bought two small organic, the smallest ones, and then it was like $5 for like a pint of cherry tomatoes or whatever, grape. I usually buy Romos. One tomato is like a pound. I'm tired of paying $4 for one tomato, like the smallest one you could find. That's not all mushed. Every one of them were all mushed and bruised. So they had some kind of basket, so they're all upside down. The top was all mushed in already. So you gotta get that home and use it fast. But I guess the pearl is people had not necessarily electric cars, because that's still gonna use your plugs, and that's still going to use your fossil fuels unless your home is completely off grid and you're able to charge. That's a whole nother story. There's definitely outliers. You have food, air, water, you have transportation, you have protection, you have medication, you have entertainment, and then one of the big ones that is not crucial, but because you can be alone, but I feel like it's so crucial, would be community, whether that's who lives in your house, your neighbors, your community. You have a set people that you can contact. This is something that's not made up by me, but the food is messed up, and I'm a raw foodist, so I'm paranoid. This is me. I am not your doctor unless I am, but I would give you a treatment plan. Let's just type it in. What produce is affected by Cyclospora? So if this place suffered an earthquake or nuke or something that, or like a, not a nuke, like a regular bomb, the one that I'm not going to get radiation, and I had to go out, the building collapsed, and I had to go out with the clothes on my back and these couple hair ties and just crawl out of rubble, and I'm barefoot right now, run for my life. I'm going to have to go sit somewhere and find shelter, like on Naked and Afraid. I'm going to go have to find some clean water. I'm going to have to go find a place if there's people and I want to be around them. Are they safe or not? Are they plotting? Do they have a hierarchy where they're going to put us at the bottom because of my demographic and their buddy, like on some of these movies you think about, yeah, let's get the granola bars out, let's get the canned goods out and the can openers, yeah, and all that stored water. They got some cars, they got Uno, they got Monopoly, they're gonna be in this bunker underground. No, they're gonna have social issues, and they're not gonna have police, and they're not gonna have anarchy, they're gonna have people walking by and say, why are you trying to steal my neighbor's car? You're not, you know, that is the mental. So that kind of Hollywood movie scenario I just described versus, hey, I completely lost 100% of my income in February 2026. After already having lost 100% of my income, I could still get a little bit for copays and deductibles. I could still get a little bit from copays and deductibles. Was it worth it compared to how the price of doing business? No, but to stay in business and keep the medical licenses and keep the clinic, every little penny counted. So that's why if everyone gave each other $1, $2, someone can get more, we would be able to help each other. You know, and you cycle it in. This group gets the first 6 months, you give the $1, the next 6 months we received $1. That would be cool. Let's go back and forth and we bundle the money and use it to make more money. That'd be cool. That barter, you can barter with anything. Let's see what kind of stories we have. Hardly anything. Someone says, no, you shouldn't avoid fruits and vegetables. Please comment below what you think about the businesses that aren't recalling the food. I see a lot of stores putting the Taylor Farms salad kits on sale for 97 cents. And I see this online, and I see them for $3.75, I think, at Dollar General. And then full price. It doesn't matter if it's full price or not, but do you think it's ethical to not have a note to say, hey, we're investigating this. The authorities are investigating this product. Like, heads up kind of thing, you know? Like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I feel like if it was my store, I would say, like, use at your own discretion, but it's about that money, you know? And since they went back on the positive tests, there's a lot of people sick, a lot of people saying they're in the hospital. So I'm actually, after I grow my own salad, so I should have done this. I should have bought my own house. I should have got my own salad. I should have, but I didn't. Even if I had a community garden, at least I would have something. Did I plant stuff in dirt? Did most of it not grow? Yeah. Did everything I had outside get dried out in the sun because there's absolutely no shade, not even a tree. There's not even a tree in our backyard. There's a tiny baby one in our front though, thank God. But did I have an herb garden in my window? No. Did I have those mites or not? Actually, I think we did have the mites. Or we had those, what did you call them? Root flies or something? So I'm giving you an example of what my hair is doing, and I'm going to get off here. I'm running out of we had the bottled water over here, just stacked up like 5 feet tall. Right, so this is what happens when I braid the hair. I was trying to explain to you with the pen before. It was easier to see with the highlighter. I can do 2 or 3 like this, and you'll say, oh, Mia's hair is growing. Wow, you can almost have hair all the way like down to here instead of up here. But this doesn't stay for long because it's coily, kinky hair. See, it's already velcroed itself up. I mean, hook and eyed itself up. So this isn't normal people would have hair this short. They would call it short hair. For me, this is the longest it's been, and my hair, except for the time I accidentally had it lock up, my hair's never ever been past this point. It's never been past my shoulders are. It's never gone by my neck or touched my shoulders. I've never had any hair cover my face. Sometimes I wish I did so I could play around with that, but I can't control it unless I put in a weave. So, or go to a professional and get some maintenance and deep conditioning and all kinds of stuff that could help me trim the ends. I do have a pair of scissors because I get a lot of knots in the end of my hair, and I will now. I was looking for years, like this has knots in it, so I just started. This is probably like the fourth time. I probably shouldn't do this, but I might cut too much. I just cut. That was kind of a lot of hair actually, but there's like the fairy knots because it's so coily, and instead of like pulling on them and leaving them, I decided to use this scissors, and I wanted to get some decent scissors. There's some for coily hair. I forget how the blades are. And I'll end with this. What were they, like $40 a pair? Like, I was like trying to find a pair of tweezers at CVS. It was like, what was it, like $25 for a pair of tweezers? And then you don't feel like buying the dollar ones, and then I end up buying like the $3 ones. And I could not. They didn't work for me. I'll tell you that. They didn't work for me. I mean, barely. So I feel like you could go into the store back in the day and pay $2 for a decent pair, name brand, Revlon or some kind of name brand, real sharp. Remember those ones that were nice and pretty, the handle part, and they had the, like, it had like the metal, and then it had the sharp, like, kind of blade part of the metal. Those ones, and the what are the ones with the grooves and all. I've never used the pointy ones. I probably have some in some sterile equipment tray, but I'm not going to open those. They're expired. They're for educational uses, but if there's a pinch, or someone can autoclave that stuff, or you could take them out and stick them straight in a new autoclave bag, since they're not reusable. I couldn't find my reusable surgery equipment. We paid like hundreds of dollars for the German surgery equipment in my medical school. So anyways, my scope of practice is really low, and I hate to say it, but I keep saying dystopian. You have dystopian, you're still gonna have to pay taxes, so I'll pay your license fees, so pay all these taxes on everything, and it's gonna be like, dude, like, it's gonna be like, hey, we're struggling, there's no jobs. Oh yeah, that's the last thing, sorry, it's more than an hour. The last thing is I'm working the job still, doing the security stickers and the cards, the gift cards, and I did this job in 22. I actually stopped working because the price of I was spending more on gas than I was earning money, even doing extra shifts, and it's a nightmare because I'm doing it. As soon as I signed up, price of gas went up like $1 something a gallon. I'm so mad, but I have to on paper look like I'm making money, and it really is just maxed out my credit card. It did max out my credit card. It's thousands of dollars of gas, and they want you to do the work in 45 to 2 hours, 45 minutes to 2 hours. They want to pay 45 minutes, $12 or $14, depending on what location. $12 or $14 to go drive 15 minutes. That sucks. Like, my car takes more gas than that to get there. So I try to clump everything up so I can go to place, but that's stressing me out. So I don't have to drive back and forth and waste all that gas. It's just, it's insanity. Doing the same thing, expecting different results. I applied to a ton of jobs I could walk to, medical jobs, non-medical jobs, dishwasher jobs, and I got that one. I applied at the USPS. I'm still waiting to see what they say. And that's another reason why I check in, because I accepted a conditional offer. I did a fingerprints, I did a background check. I couldn't enter in all my past history. I did enter my references. And then the last thing is, I heard it's 7, 14, 21 days in a row, 12-hour days, or nothing. So, and you don't know until like the day of whether you're going to work. So my clinic is going to end up having to be a pop-up. And my medical appointments, I don't know, maybe we could do those same day ones. Like, hey, I have a job that's not consistent, but if I had that job, I'm going to be saying bye and hope my partner doesn't just leave me for the fact that I'm not here. But July 1st, 2026, we had just come back from Oregon. My car had the brake issues and all this stuff was wrong with the alignment. The car was jerking to the right when you were driving. We were on the highway, me, my partner, and my kids. That's a serious accident-prone event. And apparently all our money, maxed out everything, and the credit card and the rent money from a debit card all disappeared dealing with my car. And when you put it into public storage, it has to be in running condition. Flat tires, all this stuff. And I didn't even call them to say the car's there. Or they're going to fine you, $200 a month until you fix it. So if I get this job, I'm going to have to say bye Christmas. I got laid off at USPS before. So you guys this is the first time I'm announcing it. I don't have the job. The frozen shoulder, they said, anything you have that might prevent you. I said, I'm healing from frozen shoulder, so my mobility is way better, but it's not perfect. Since I don't know the job or what you had to do exactly, yes, I can lift 70 pounds, but I don't know about how far over your head you had to lift. I have an idea, but I'm going to cry. I already got a medical hold, and I had until the 23rd to get the paperwork in, so it's the 26th that I contacted the nurse. I worked there before. I said a medical condition. They only let you mark one on the sheet, and then they ask you at the end. And I said, let me tell them about this, because if there's something happens and I can't lift or do this or tug this, I want to say, hey, I disclosed it. You can get fired right away. I've had people complain before. I had issues with my body. I had other coworkers complain about, you can't lift 70 pounds. And it wasn't about lifting and stuff. I was trying to lift it from the top, and it fell. I had my arms and hands full. I said, let me come back for it. And somebody started yelling, and I had to take a break. I was like, when you apply for the job and you do all this stuff, they ask you, and they tell you could be fired if you don't disclose it. Something could happen to you later. You can get a diagnosis a month later. So I guess you're supposed to report it or something. Because they say, oh, no, I told you guys that I had issues. So I haven't heard back from anyone. I did the fingerprints, I did the background check, I had 72 hours to do that, and the paperwork online. They could find a discrepancy because my work history wouldn't enter in. And then I went to fingerprints. I couldn't call anyone. I couldn't figure this out. That person, don't worry about it. It was that person, though. I don't know who that person was. I wrote their name down, but I don't know their title. So I don't want somebody to tell me the wrong thing. I really want my clinic to work, but I want to not have a situation where I have zero income. And I spent all day, every day, 7 days a week applying for jobs and trying to find, I contacted like 100 physicians asking for a collaboration agreement. Even the ones my colleagues have, none of them even contact me back, say no. I have my colleagues lying to me. Several of my colleagues lied to me. And people will say I'm a bad person, that I'm a fraudulent person. These people lied, my colleagues and people on the association, to my face, unbelievably. Well, through the phone, but unbelievably, all of them lied. And I've had these people lie to me before. I think they were literally trying to. None of them are black. Actually, one is. I think they're trying to get rid of the competition, to be honest. I thought naturopaths and every other healthcare provider work together for the good of the patient and the community as a whole, and allow kids to be growing up in a healthy community from stuff that we can control, like the Serenity Prayer. God grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Even outreach and education and looking at people in the eye and smiling and telling them have a good day, that changes people's health and stress level, especially if you're a provider. You're not just talking to the back of their head. Wait, I've got 6 ounces of blood coming out of me a day. Wait, they're already on to the next patient. It's ridiculous. I'm stupid to think that we're here to iron sharpens iron and be allies. The big bad wolf. I'm not an immigrant, but if I was an immigrant undocumented, I would think that there would be a lot of issues, whether I was complying or not, running for my life or not. There'd be a lot of paperwork issues and things that I have to be responsible for myself and my family's protection. And the laws can tear up that family, even if they had followed things, just like my student loans, where people took away the promises that were already given to you. And you signed the paperwork. You did every single thing you're supposed to, and you go and do your court appearance, and someone snatches you and puts you in a detention center. Somebody's could be a nursing mom, had their baby sitting with the babysitter in the car waiting for them to come out so she could nurse, and then find out you're in a detention center for 3 years and nobody's heard or seen you. We got that kind of stuff, but I feel like that with my student loans. I feel like that with my job, and I feel like be the change you want to see in the world. And don't just give up everything. But there's only so much power that a typical human, especially one that doesn't have money talks. That's obvious. That's why the Taylor farms got retracted. So what are you guys gonna do? Can you please put in the comments? I would like to have a food preparation video someday. I would like to have a traveling outside the apartment video someday. I would like to put a montage together of pictures. Videos too, that would be fun, because then I can piece together these and get the main points out across, because I'll repeat myself. Maybe put the stuff about growing my own garden in one video, but I haven't got those skills or time or energy. I gotta go to work right now. It's Sunday afternoon. I gotta do a lot of work. Wish me luck, guys, and good luck. Peace.